David, I'm glad you could come by today.
I appreciate you seeing me.
Sure. How's it going?
Well, it's kind of like I talked to you over the phone, but I wanted to get in and get a chance to, actually make this connection with you. I know you've been talking to Catherine, and I wanted a chance to be able to tell you about some of the things that I've been doing and trying to work through this. I have done a lot of soul searching. People have asked me to, and I've tried very hard to take that to heart, to look into myself and to admit to myself what I did, and to realize why it was wrong, and to to make the changes in myself that I would need to get through this, and for this ever to work out. And I have worked on it myself, and I have prayed really hard for help from God as well. Because I know what I did was wrong. I know what I did was outrageous, and I know that changes have to be made. And
what did you do, David?
well, like I said, to start with, I've spent a lot of time in prayer, and I have asked God to.
No, I mean, what did you do that got you here?
I let my anger get away from me, and I raised my hand against my wife. And there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that. And that's...
When I saw her, she was in the hospital. Is that right?
Yeah. It was, I don't know, the doctors, if you care about details.
No, I'm not asking for...
I hit Catherine. I raised my hand against Catherine. I hit my wife. That's why I've gotten myself here.
Okay.
So, there's no dancing around that. And
Right.
and like I said, I realized that the first step I needed to take was to admit that what I had done was wrong. And I have admitted that. I've admitted that to her. I've admitted it to the legal system. I'm confessing it to you. And it's the first step, because that's the first step in cleansing it, in changing it, in getting in and rooting it out and destroying that inside of us, which leads us to do that. And I not only, like I said, worked as hard as I could on it, but I really have gone to God in prayer. And I have
That's
had...
exactly what you should do.
And
It
I've
can
had
be
to...
a really valuable support for you at this point.
And I've had to face some really hard things about myself, and I don't pretend that there was any excuse for what I did, or that, I'm under stress or job stress. There's no excuse, and I know that, and I have faced that, and I've admitted that. I've admitted that to myself. I've admitted that to the people around me. I've admitted it to God. And I knew that if I was going to make it work for Catherine and I to get together again, that this was something I was going to have to do for myself and do for her. And for that reason, I have really committed myself to working on that, to digging it out of myself and going to God in prayer. And it has had an effect. I have asked God to make me see that in myself, and it hasn't been a lot of fun. Because, not only, well, I don't have to tell you, because everyone else sees it. They tell me about how much they see it, what a horrible thing it is. Well, okay, I tried to swallow my pride and say, all right, I will go to God in prayer in this. And when you start to admit that to yourself and work through that, and you let God do His work in your life, and you trust in the transforming power of Jesus, it does have an effect. And it's had a strong effect on me, and I think people that have been around me would tell you that.
And are you still in the group that the court sent you to?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been going to it every week, just like they asked me to. In fact, I've done everything they asked me to do. I think if they're keeping the records on that stuff, that'll show.
And has it been helpful?
It has. It's, some of it's relevant, some of it's not, but, I know I can see why they sent me there, and, obviously it's my job to open my eyes and ears and, see what they have to say. They've, dealt with a lot of people in that position. But none of this is going to... There's only so far that I can say, that I've gone through this and that I've prayed and so forth. You have to have a chance to show it. I mean, people have to be able to see it. Otherwise it's just words from me. And I need to talk to Catherine. I need to interact with her. I need to get to the next step, which is taking this transformation in me and making it become a transformation for us. And the only way to do that is for me to communicate with her. And, a long time ago, she stopped taking calls and answering my emails and stuff like that. And, maybe I can understand some of that. One of the lawyers probably has something to do with that, too. But I understand she's been talking to you. And I'm not talking about, trying to, hack things out, but I'm talking about some kind of interaction so that a process of healing can start.
Well, for one thing, I want to reassure you that Catherine is fine and she's safe and she's well and the children are well, because I know you've been concerned about
Thank you.
that for them. But she's not ready to talk to you. And she's got a lot of healing to do and a lot to think about as well.
How can that healing take place if you don't give it a chance?
Well, it's her healing. It's the healing that's got to take place in
Well,
her and the healing of her body.
Now, I understand that. I've had to go through a lot of that too. But the two aren't exclusive.
But David, it's only been 6 weeks. That's not very long.
Well, how long do these things take? Is there... what's too long?
Everybody's different, but it usually takes a while.
Well, I'm not denying how hard it can be, because this is the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Right.
And if you ever want to take a look at yourself in the mirror when you realize you've done something like this, get an idea of what it's like to face that. But, part of the process of, as I understand it, in addition to praying, I've also been reading my Bible. Part of the process of that is when you go to God, you not only pray for strength, but you pray for forgiveness. And I think something like John or something where he says, the process of forgiveness, it not only is God's faithfulness, but it cleanses you. And when you go to God and you put that on him, he makes you realize that in yourself, and he can, to a large degree, take it away from you. That's part of what he can do and has the power to do. And I think that's why in Luke, when the disciple comes to him and says, how many times must I forgive my brother? 7 times. And he says, not only that, but 70 times 7 times. If they confess their sins, then you should forgive them. Well, I'm here and I'm confessing my sins, and I'm asking for forgiveness.
It also, David, in that passage says, you must rebuke the offender, which is what has happened to you. The courts have done that. People around you have done that.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I've been plenty rebuked in the last
That's right. That's
6
right.
weeks. Sorry.
And if there is repentance, you must forgive.
We've been talking here about the last 20 minutes about my talking about how how much I know what I've done is wrong, and so here I am. I've confessed my sins. I am admitting what I did was horrible. It was wrong. And I mean, there you are.
But David, the process of repentance, which Luke is talking about there, is a long process, because repentance really means getting a new heart and a new mind. And that's a pretty major overhaul. But no less than that will suffice in terms of the changes in your life. And you're on that path, and you're working on that, and you're trying, and I believe you're trying. And I want to support you in your journey on that path, but you're not there yet. But
Well, taking time implies that there's something that's going to be done in that time. I don't know what else I can do.
well,
I'm not,
you're
see,
doing what you need to
that's
do.
why I'm asking for a chance to show that I've made progress. Because otherwise, I feel like I'm telling you that I've done these things,
Right.
but I don't have a chance to show that. I mean, I don't feel like I'm believed. I don't think that people realize just what I've gone through trying to sort this out.
Right. But I also feel like what you're telling me about that is, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. So why can't I now do what I want to do, which is to see Catherine? And it doesn't work that way. Catherine's not ready to see you. She's afraid of you, David. And she doesn't get over that in 6 weeks. The other thing I want you to understand, David, is that the outcome of this for your family may or may not be you and Catherine being together again. We don't know that at this point. And I know that's what you want, and I know you want to be there for your kids, but you're going to have to wait and see if there's enough healing that's going to be possible, because what you did broke the covenant of your marriage. And once a covenant is broken, it can be healed, but it's very, very difficult. And you don't get to decide if and when that healing is complete. That's part of what you're giving up at this point, and what you're learning as part of your repentance. You're not going to get to decide this one.
So I'm hearing you say that, there's nothing, it's not something that I can do. I mean, there's not a set of no standards I can live up to or steps I can take that necessarily, no certain way to the place I'm trying to get to.
Right. That's right. What you can do now is work hard in your group, continue to go to your men's group, pray and study, and I'll be glad to meet with you during this period to support you. And trust that God is going to be there with you. But you don't know what the outcome is going to be, and you can't control it.